Mwasibire muta, mwasibye mutya, amahoro, agandi, byaibo, habari gani, muraho, sangonini, kopango, odeo. For those of you who are wondering what that was, these are some of the various local greetings found in East Africa's diverse languages. Welcome to SheCentre, the female podcast, where I dive into the issues and experiences that affect women everywhere. I am your host, Resti Kansime, and I am passionate about creating a safe space for women to share their stories and triumphs. I want to thank you for tuning into my podcast, and I would love for you to join our community and stay connected with us beyond this episode. You can find us on Instagram at _SheCentre_podcast and follow us on Facebook at the SheCentre podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and hit that follow and like button on our social media to be part of the conversation. Welcome back, dear listeners, and a warm hello to those joining the SheCentre community for the first time. Your support means the world to me, by the way. For the new listeners, please take time to support me and join the SheCentre community by subscribing to this podcast, rating and reviewing. Also, follow us on social media and keep updated with the conversations that happen throughout the week. There's a lot to learn. You can also share the episodes with people who you feel can benefit from the wonderful and inspiring stories of the women on this podcast. Last week, we were deeply inspired by the incredible midwife hero Eva Nangalo, who shared her challenges and triumphs in the mission to save the lives of mothers and babies. She emphasized the importance of seeing the role of midwives as a God-given responsibility, treating each patient with care and love. Why am I mentioning this? It's because today we navigate through a heart-wrenching topic that strikes fear into the hearts of mothers: the unimaginable pain of losing a child. Pregnancy, often a time of anticipation and joy, can take a tragic turn with the unexpected occurrence of a miscarriage or a stillborn birth. Every woman is cautioned about the delicate nature of early pregnancy, where the risk of loss is highest. As the journey progresses, hope blossoms and dreams for the future take shape. But what happens when the much anticipated third trimester takes a tragic turn? Not that many people get to think about that. Well, in this episode, my guest Shiela Muhereza starts off by unraveling the profound impact of her extroverted sister Suzan Muhereza, who I personally know. She played a pivotal role in their lives during a challenging time in their childhood as their mother battled with an illness. Suzan and Shiela shared rooms at the university, and their connection was profound. Post-university, life unfolded with jobs, marriage, and the joy of bringing forth new life. Please listen until the end and catch the episode next week to find out how what seemed to be a healthy, normal pregnancy resulted in Shiela losing her child at week 32. And I don't think I need to say much more about this. Just listen until the end to find out Sheila's resilience, her triumphs, and the healing that unfolded amidst the heartbreaking challenges that she has faced so far. Welcome, Shiela. Hi, Shiela. How are you?
I'm fine.
Wait, you're Mrs. who?
Mrs. Baikari.
Baikari.
Yes.
Okay. How are you, Shiela? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for making the time. I know you're a busy person right now, especially right now.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm very glad that you are very ready to jump onto this. And I was telling you just before we started that you were someone I had thought of like way before to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how it would go when I asked you. But I was very surprised when you actually said yes. Some people are always like, let me think about it. I'm not
Mhm.
sure. Let's see. But you were like, yes. I was like, wait, what? Sheila is actually willing to talk.
Yeah.
It was surprising to me, to be honest.
Mm,
So the reason why I asked you to come onto the podcast is basically I think every woman has a story to tell, and I'm one of those people who likes observing people who at least have been in my life, or people who maybe I follow on social media or something like that.
mm.
We went to university together,
Yes.
and I spent a lot of time with you and your sister. Hi, Suzan. I spent a lot of time with you and your sister, and to be honest, I would say I observed a lot about your family. I knew your brother from school, but like I only got to know you guys were brothers like way at uni. I was like, wait, what? This is Solo's sisters.
Yes.
But yeah, saw I love your mom. She reminds me so much of my mom. She's so down to earth. How she would come and sleep at hostel and talk with us and we cook. That's something that I
Yeah.
really, really love. I'm sure you'll be surprised that I remember all these things. And also your sister has this whole mother thing. Like she's such a mom.
Yeah.
Even before
I
she
had
became
forgotten
a
that that's
mom.
when
Like
she
she
used to
was
sleep
our
over.
mom. Yeah. And your sis Susan is such a mom. Like she's like she used to take care of us. I remember when I would be at campus, she would always be like, "Have you eaten? Come to my room." And like like you guys' room was like always full of food. You had
Yeah.
onions, tomatoes, like it's like it was like a whole house.
Yeah.
But I loved that. I loved sharing that part of my life with you guys at campus because I knew that whatever I was doing in hostel, no matter how lonely it was,
Mm.
I always found a home. That's
Oh,
something you didn't realize.
no.
Like you kind of gave me a home. I met you guys through Charlene when she became, I think, my no, when you guys were in the quadruple, I
Yes. Yes.
think in the when you were sleeping together,
Yeah.
that's how I got to know you guys because I came to visit. And then like Susan embraced me immediately. And then when you guys moved into a double room, she was always inviting me. What are you doing? Like I never felt lonely at uni. If I knew, hi Susan, are you there? I would always come. You guys always had the latest movies. Like it always felt like you made a huge impact on me. You guys don't know that, but it always felt like family. And yet I didn't go to school with you guys.
Mm.
You guys didn't really know that much about me, and I would say up to now I would say, yeah, my friends I'm Muherezas, even if we have not talked in a long time because of that part of our lives.
Yes.
And then coming to where we are right now, I think we've just been following on each other like social media. We see what is happening in each other's lives,
Yes.
and a lot has happened in your life which I will only let you share.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to share this part of your life for you to see that you're someone who has inspired me and you made an impact on me. So I will start out by saying, before I start crying, I get so emotional when I'm talking about people. I'm very deep.
uh,
Anyways, I'll start out by asking for you to share because I saw that part of your life when we were just figuring out life at uni. Tell us a little bit about your childhood. How did it shape the person that you are right now, and how you see the world?
okay. You
I
know,
know.
that was so nice to hear. Usually
Yeah.
I hear mostly good things about my sister because she's like a very loving person. She's outgoing, she's
Yeah.
friendly, she loves to cook,
Yeah.
she loves to have people
Yeah.
around her. And
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I'm the total opposite. But
I know. I know
but
that feeling. Trust me. That's my sister also.
growing up, um,
Mm,
my mother always made it clear to us that the most important thing to her were her children, and the fact that
mm,
we were always united. I think you know that I'm
mm.
always with my sister like all the time, almost all the
Yeah.
time.
You
Yeah.
guys are like, it's weird.
So So my mom made
Yeah.
it clear that that was something that was so important
Mm,
to her, for us to always
mm,
love each other, always check on each other,
mm,
always
mm,
like look out for each other. And I believe
mm.
Susan extended that to everybody else that she met, as much as I might have
Yes.
limited it a little bit to my siblings and maybe a few other people. But for her,
Yeah.
like it just extended to everyone else. And I think that's exactly my mother's character. Because
Yeah. I can tell.
you
Yeah.
know how you move with your mother and you're like, she knows this person, she knows the other person, she hugs this person, she's like always a happy
Yeah.
person. So
Yeah.
growing up, Susan was that person. She
Mm,
mostly took on my mother's character because
mm.
much of our early childhood, my mother was battling rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh,
So
okay.
during that time, Susan had to be our mom at such a young age because our age
Mm,
difference is like really small. We are most of our
mm.
relatives joke and
Yeah.
call my mother family planning because like each and every year she had a baby
Yeah, you guys are like, cause Solo is like Solo, Suzan, you, and
and
it's
Simon,
quite
yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
So
yeah,
we were so close in age, but Susan had to grow up really fast because my mother was battling rheumatoid
mm,
arthritis. She was always in pain. She was
mm,
always in bed. So Susan had to
yeah,
step up and take on that role. So she was always like
mm,
that, like the mother hen. Oh, Sheila, she like she wouldn't let me go anywhere with my brothers as much as I took on most
mm,
of their character. I always wanted to go outside and play football with them,
mm,
run around with them. But
mm.
Susan always, like any mom, she'd be like, "No, Sheila, you're a girl. You have to be here with me."
Wow.
Yeah, and so she would like cook. She would, if she
Mm.
had like a spare money, she'd buy something
Mm.
and then tell me, Sheila, have this, hide it in our bedroom from the boys, and then later we can meet up and eat.
I see Sheila doing that.
And
I
yeah,
mean, Susan, sorry.
yeah. So
Yeah.
mostly for the biggest part of our childhood, when my mother was battling, we were mainly with Susan, and she would be the
Mm.
one that would like prepare meals. Of course,
Oh,
we
okay.
had help, but for the biggest time, she'd make
Mm.
sure that we had
Yeah.
eaten. She was fussing over all of
Yeah.
us, and like basically
Mm.
that was the my mom really hustled with that pain for so many years, for as long as I can remember.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so for the biggest part of our childhood, that was basically it. Susan being mother hen. Have you eaten? Have you
Mm.
showered? Go do this. Have you done your homework? She was always helping out
Now
my
it makes
mom.
so much sense.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense.
Um,
Kuchi. Yeah.
and
Wow.
my mother is someone that loves like children and babies because
Mm.
she's
Mm.
always delivering babies. She's a midwife and nurse.
Yeah, she's a midwife.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think that's now where I picked up the love for children. Like we
Mm. I
love
do
children.
remember you were always obsessed with people's children at campus.
We love
I remember you
children,
saying, I can't wait to have my own kids.
right? Like I always even like
Yeah.
told my mom, I said on my hierarchy, like children, marriage, like children first up
I
there.
know.
Because I like we
Yes,
really
yes.
love
You did. You
children.
did. Yeah, I remember that about you at uni. Like you were always talking, like you would always have pictures like, oh my God, this kid, I want to eat them.
Yeah, like sometimes you'd look at a baby and they're so cute, your mind just like you just
Yeah.
want to eat
Yeah.
them. So for me, I picked
Yeah.
up mostly the love for children. We love
Mm.
children. We really love children. My brothers love children. Like
Yeah.
you can find
Yeah.
my younger brother carrying a child and you'd think that he has like 10 because he's loving on them. He
Mm.
can change diapers, he can shower them, like so the
Oh,
biggest
wow.
part of our childhood
Mm.
was love. We loved each other, we loved
Mm.
children, we loved everyone that was around us. So
Mm.
I think up until we were in high school is when
Mm.
my mother got a bit of relief from her pain. she
Mm.
there was a medication that they introduced her to, and it was
Mm.
quite expensive, but at least it would like take away the pain for some a bit
Mm.
of time at least, because she was
Yeah.
receiving that drug for I think once every year. And
Mm.
that time now she was back to her motherly role, but Susan was
Yeah.
obviously still, you know, being
The mom.
that mom, yeah. And
Yeah.
like I think,
Yeah.
like you said, Susan loves to cook, so she would
Mm.
like always tell me, she's like, you don't want to cook. I'm like, no, I'd rather do all the other chores and let you do the cooking. So Susan, there'd be like
Yeah.
one meal would have
Yeah.
like a million things. There's Irish, there's chicken, there's beef, there's what, there's like
Yes.
a
Oh my
million.
God. No, no, like it was really fun. Like it's weird for someone that you need to eat like that, you know? Like we're at university, the kitchen is like all the way that side, but for some reason, Susan always had a buffet.
Yeah. And you see, sometimes, by the way, like she was so selfless that like there are times that she'd invite so many people and give out all the food
Mhm.
that we would have to buy food.
And you guys don't have. I know, because I don't remember us contributing anything.
So we would have to go to
At
the
least I
restaurant
didn't.
to buy our dinner after she has like given out all the food to everyone she has invited.
How is that for you, by the way? How is that for you? Because I do know it's not easy living with a sibling
Yeah.
who you're always with, who is too giving, too welcoming, because sometimes it can encroach on your space. How is that for you? Because at campus we were always in your room, and many of us were like, we have come because
That's
Susan
what
has
yeah.
invited us. How was that for you? How do you feel about that, and how did you kind of navigate that people being in your space?
So I'm not like very social, like not to Susan's extent
Mm,
really. So
yeah.
sometimes it would be hard really. I'd tell them like, you know
Mm.
what, because there are a few people that would overstay their welcome. Like there are times where our room would have people up until after midnight, and like I'm like, do I get into my
But
bed?
Susan always had the best TVs, and you always had the best movies. So we didn't want to go. I probably was among those people.
Yeah, and she made our room too comfortable. It was like a home. There was an aquarium, there was a
Yeah.
fridge, there was this, there was that.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. And you want your space
yeah, so most of the
sometimes.
times I think most people would find just her. As soon as like people would
Mm.
start coming in and like there are more than five people, I would just like
Mm.
move out, excuse myself, probably go to someone else's room
Mm.
where it's like more quiet. Then
Yeah.
I'd come back later and like still
Mm.
find out with
And we
some
are
people,
still
but
there.
at least I'm comfortable enough to sleep. Like if I found Resty, if I found
Yeah.
Charlene, I'm like, I can sleep. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was a bit. I'm not very social. Like I struggled with like being around so many
Yeah.
people. Unlike Susan, because she will
Yeah.
like she's always
She's a
happy, like
magnet.
too much energy of
Yeah.
hi Resty, hi Charlene, hi
Yeah.
hi hi hi. Like there are all these people, and I think
Yeah.
if you remember, at some point it became too much for me that I had
Mm.
to move to another room where I was by myself. Yeah, for like the whole of
Mm.
third year because I just could not keep up with how social Susan was. Like she always had a new friend. She invited anyone and everyone to our room. The askaris, the
Yes.
cleaners, the like everybody.
Yes, yes, she did.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it was a bit hard for me to adjust. I honestly
yeah.
did not fully
Mm,
adjust. That's why I would like run away sometimes. But still,
mm,
she taught me a lot. She taught me to
yeah,
learn to be around people.
yeah.
She's very like
Mm,
loving and kind, and she can give the clothes
mm.
off her back for someone. And when I think
Definitely,
sometimes
definitely.
people would take advantage of that, like Susan, as soon as you come
Yeah,
with a sad story or your shirt is torn, then she's sold. She'll give you all her money. She'll give
she's
you
a
everything.
fixer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I remember that.
yeah, that was a bit.
Yeah.
It was hard for me a bit. I struggled. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, I think it's quite normal because your characters are completely different, but now you also had to stretch to be more social.
yeah.
But at the same time, for her, she's not noticing it because in her mind she's like, Sheila is having fun.
Uh-huh. And of course, sometimes I
Yeah,
wouldn't cope.
that's
I could not control my facial expressions when she'd just show up with a random
yeah.
person. Like someone walks in and you're like, okay, Susan, what's happening? She's like, Munange, first
What's
come,
up?
this guy, his parents died. He's like, she doesn't. for her, there's nothing like background check or anything. As soon as you've told her,
Yeah, actually, you're right. There's a guy who was studying with you guys in psychology or something. He used to help you guys, to tutor you guys, right? This is a story I'll never forget. And something happened. He got into an accident or something like that. And like Susan made it like she had to go and see him. She had to take food and all these things. I remember that actually because he was a student that you guys had just met, but I think they hit him
yes,
when he was
he was
going
at
home
work.
after discussing with for you guys.
Mm,
Yeah, I hope that guy is fine. Actually, I just remembered right now because like Susan took it like really big. It was like as if her sibling had been
yeah,
hurt.
like my entire family actually got to know him, and
Yeah.
they also contributed to like medical bills and everything. I actually still see him because I help him with some work.
Mm,
He comes to my office, but
yeah.
like Susan took it upon
Yeah.
herself to make sure that anyone and everyone that could
Yeah.
help helped with medical bills because he
Mm,
was taken
mm,
to, okay, I don't think I can mention the hospital, but the hospital was quite expensive. So she made sure that she told
mm,
anyone that could contribute to, like, come in and help.
yeah.
And he actually recovered,
Yeah.
and he was a very intelligent boy. So actually, that hospital took him on, and
Yeah, I remember.
yeah, they gave him a job, and he worked there for quite a
Oh
number of
wow.
years. Yeah, he was there for I think about 10 years or so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I, I always wondered what happened to him. I never actually really found out.
No, the
That's quite
hospital
interesting.
like wondered how this person had all these people fussing about him, checking on him. Like they just could not believe, and he was a
Yeah.
very intelligent boy. So I think when they found out
Mm,
and did a
mm.
background check, they were like, we have to have this person.
They
So they
realized.
hired him. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. So how was life after uni? Was it more a little bit different or was it somehow always Sheila, Suzan? Or was it a little bit more like, okay, now I have my space?
So after uni, I think
Mm,
we Susan kept in touch with a lot of people and friends and
mm,
whatnot. While I just did not. Okay, I don't usually put in so much
mm,
effort in my friendships, which is terrible. But like I did not, people go their different
yeah.
ways. People are doing all kinds of things. So
Mm,
I kind of
mm,
went back
yeah.
into my shell. uh,
Mm,
the people that would come home to visit from like people that went to school with and whatnot were always Susan's friends. Actually, if not, most of my friends are Susan's friends that have people that went to school with Susan
yeah.
because
I
at no
actually
point did we go.
I don't think I know your friends. Like I know you guys' friends. I know you and Susan's friends. I don't
Yeah,
think I know anyone who is just your friend.
no. So all my friends are Susan's friends. There are people she went to school with. There are
Yeah.
people that she has introduced me
Mm,
to. I have
mm,
like just a few people that I've met on my own, and somehow when they meet
mm.
Susan, then it's over for me. Everyone's like, "How is Susan? Please give me Susan's number."
Ouch.
Yeah, and so
Yeah, that
after uni, we went into, of course, the job hunt. I was
mm,
I was more on the I need to apply for this and this and this, like anywhere and everywhere that I saw, I applied. Well, Susan
yeah.
was she was like, if a job comes, it will come, and I'll go and work. So
Wow.
um Susan influenced me into doing human resource management. And her as
Mm,
a people person, she like so easily went into that role because she likes to be around people. And then me, on the other
mm,
hand, I was like, can I really do this?
mm,
Because that means like
mm.
an HR person has to always be like there are always people in their face, and I just can't do that.
Yeah.
So the
Mm,
first opportunity that came along that was in that line, I was like, no, I
mm,
don't think I'll apply for this. Then I encouraged Susan to apply. I actually photocopied her papers, took her application
mm.
with her, such that I made sure that she would, you know, should apply because she was
Yeah.
not bothered at all. And
Yeah.
of course, when she did the interviews and everything, they loved her so much that she got the job. So
Mm,
Susan started
wow.
working, and I was home. But
Mm.
I was not bothered because Susan always, like, as soon as she was paid, Sheila, come to town. Then she's like, buying this, buying that.
I know. I know she spent her money as it came.
Yeah. So I never really felt like the pinch or anything like that
Yeah.
until after I think about almost a year,
Mm,
I finally got a job, and
mm.
I have been working at that job since I think
Ah.
2014, yeah, until now.
Mm. Wow. When was it that you guys started the decorating thing? Was it after uni, or had you forgotten?
I wow, Tracy.
Yeah, I told you I'm an observer.
You
But also
are.
remember, you decorated for my sister's baby shower. The daughter
Yes.
is turning 7, so that was 7 years ago.
What? I had
Yeah,
totally forgotten about that. But
yeah. There was that phase when you guys did decoration. Then there's
yeah.
a phase not so long ago when you started doing like print T-shirts.
Mm. So
Yeah.
we started that after uni. Susan was already
Mm,
working, and
mm,
she told me she always loved decor, and of course baby showers were our biggest. Like we always
mm,
mostly did baby showers because of course the love for children. Like there's always that car, you know.
mm,
So
mm,
Susan just came home one day after she had been paid her first salary. She had tablecloths. She had bought certain tablecloths. I think there was gold, there was white and pink.
mm, mm.
So I was like, okay, Susan, what are we doing? She's like, and now we're going to start doing decor for baby showers. I'm like, okay. And she's like, I already got my first gig. That's why I've bought these things. I was like, okay. So she bought that, and
Wow.
like honestly, we never ever made profit from that business because Susan would ask for an
You were too
amount.
nice.
Yeah, she'd ask for an amount of money, and then she'd do way more
Yeah.
than she had been paid to do. So
Yeah, yeah,
would
I
end up
remember that.
ordering cake for them, doing the decor,
Mm,
even staying around and helping out.
yeah.
Yet we really did not have to. But
I know she
so,
even introduced me to Oba.
oh my God.
She introduced me to Oba, and you wouldn't believe it, but Oba, my sister still uses him like for cakes up to
Oh,
now because I
is-
introduced him to my sister, and my sister always has parties.
oh yeah.
So it was quite interesting, like the network. So like you just text Susan and she'll be like, "Ah, I have a guy for
She
this.
has
You
a
wanna cut
guy
out the
for
word?" Yeah.
everything. Susan has like
Yeah, but,
she
but
has
that's quite nice. That's
yeah,
quite nice to have a sister like that because you never really have to hustle. Like they always have like a solution for all your problems.
yeah. So but the business
Yeah.
didn't last long because really we're not making any money. Like I'd always tell, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
how much did we save? And she's like, no, we did not save anything, maybe on the next job. So
Mm.
I
You
gave up.
need
I
your
told her,
help.
Madam, this is not
I'm
working.
out.
Yeah, because would order
This is a
cakes for them,
social business.
would and most of some of those
Charity
people,
organization.
right? And some of those people have still remained friends with Susan up to now.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's the interesting thing about, I think, starting a business. Sometimes it's not about making profit. It's
mm,
basically about connection,
yes.
like making growing your network. And I think
Mm,
she did that because if you do something like that for someone, like they will always remember you, even if they didn't pay you. They will always feel like, I owe this person a favor.
yes. So
Yeah. Okay. So how was the employment world? What kind of job did you get?
I'm at Ministry of Lands, eh? So I work in land
Ah,
registration.
Mr. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
mainly mortgages, titles, basically land titles in
Mm,
that line.
mm.
So
Is it in admin, like in administration?
it's a
Or
whole lot of things. Like
mm,
I, as someone who did not want to be around people, this was totally
mm,
like it really shocked me and surprised me because you're always around people, always around people. Like
mm, yeah.
yeah,
Everyone
so
is buying land.
yeah, and always
Yeah.
like everywhere you go, as soon as you introduce yourself, like, hi, my name is Sheila. I work with Ministry of Lands. Oh, give me your number. Like,
Can I have your contact? Trust me.
yeah,
After people listen to this audio, people are going to be calling me, telling me, "Can you help me with your friend's number?"
So most of the times I'll just be like,
I
huh?
know. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
as soon as you say where you work, there's always someone that
Mm,
needs your help. So
yeah.
yeah, I started working in Ministry of Lands in 2014,
Oh
and
wow, that's quite a long
yeah,
time.
so I've been there since, and
Almost 10 years.
yeah, almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
at first it was tough because
Mm,
I did not know that I had to deal with that many people. There there are
mm,
people from all walks of life or speak all kinds of languages.
yeah.
Like you have to really, they
Mm,
are tough people, they are kind people, they are overly nice people, like, you know, and you have
mm,
to deal with it
yeah.
all. So it was
Mm,
a bit of, like, it required a lot of adjustment really. But
yeah.
I loved it, so I embraced it. And
Mm.
even at some point they transferred me up country and where, and like I really don't mind because
How is that? How is that working up country?
they transferred me to my home district, so not much of a change.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, that's fine
Like
because
that's always good. I know there are people who like from the west and they send you to the north and you're like, I
exactly.
don't know anyone here. I don't speak
Yeah.
the language.
Mm. So
But
they
that's
they
good. That's
transferred me
good.
to
Yeah.
Mbara. My brother is already working there. He
Mm,
has been working there for over
yeah.
10 years. So
Mm,
I was okay with that really. And at that
yeah.
time, I
That's
I okay, no, I can't say I was 100% okay with that because I got my letter just 6 days after I got married. Just 6 days after my wedding, I
mm,
got the letter that had
to
been
be
transferred.
transferred.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it was,
how was that? Banange in the honeymoon stage.
you know, I, it was a bit, it was shocking, but also like I
Mm,
did not know how to deal with that. I did not know, like it was so unexpected. Like I knew that we were supposed to be transferred somewhere at that point, but still,
mm,
like it's just never easy. I asked them
mm,
for a few, like, months, about a month or two, because the
mm.
letter said with immediate effect. So I asked
Oh.
for like a few weeks or a month or two,
Mm,
such that at least I could
mm,
settle in my home, and
mm,
then maybe I could move after that, because I had a
yeah.
6-month old, and
Mm,
of course I wanted to be around my husband, I wanted to be around my son
mm,
and all that, and it would be hard
yeah.
for either of us to say, okay, you can take the baby or you can stay with the baby and you go and work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was tough.
Yeah. How did you navigate that stage of your life? Did you eventually move with the baby back home in Bara, or did you leave him with the dad?
So the first time I went by myself, like sort of
Mm,
reporting to duty and introducing myself and all that. And then
mm,
I traveled back, and I spoke to my husband about maybe if he would travel to see us every weekend or every 2 weeks. So,
mm,
because my
mm,
son was too young to be away from me at that time. So I went with
yeah.
him. And yeah, once I was with my child, with my son, I was at least more comfortable, because
Yeah.
you know how kids are, like, if you're so far away and they say
Mm,
maybe the child has a temperature, you feel like you just want to fly.
yes.
Yeah. So
Yes. I've seen that happen. Yeah.
so being with him at least made the
That
transition a bit easier.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And for your marriage, was it like did you eventually figure it out in terms of like seeing each other quite often, or was it something that was a challenge? Because I know very many people it's so stressful. At least I was long distance
Yeah.
with my now husband for a while, and I do understand some of those challenges because sometimes, like mostly with the kid,
Mm,
now I can imagine like the man is also missing out on so many things about the
milestones.
child's
Yeah.
life, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How was
So
that for you? How did you navigate that stage?
he was, of course, we first agreed on every 2 weeks for him to travel to come and
Mm,
see us. And of course,
yeah,
it's hard to keep up with that given work schedules and
yeah,
whatnot. So
yeah.
no, I will not say thankfully, but we
Mm,
went into the whole COVID situation, and I had to move back.
mm,
So I was only there for a
mm,
short while before we went into
mm.
lockdown.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, you can say thankfully. COVID did do some good things for so many people,
Yeah.
trust me.
Yeah, but that's
That was a huge that was good because then at least you literally didn't have to leave your job, you didn't have to give out midterms. It
no.
like it just happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So since then, like after COVID, you didn't have to go back, or
So
did you have to?
just as soon as the whole COVID situation was done and we're readjusting into the work situation,
Mm,
um,
yeah.
during around the second lockdown is when I got
Mm,
pregnant with my second child.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I knew that maybe at whatever point we're supposed to go back to work, I would still have to take off maternity leave. So that was my plan. Yeah,
Mm,
I was like, okay, as soon as it's
yeah.
time to go back to work, I'll just put in my notice for leave, and then
Mm,
be
mm,
home with the baby. Yeah,
yeah.
so that was my plan.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
we got into lockdown, so we're home most of the time, and uh, I, I always wanted to get pregnant with a second child when my older child was 3 years. So when we
mm,
went into the whole COVID thing and he was already turning 3, I was like, this is a
mm,
perfect time for me to have another child
yeah.
because everything was going
Yeah.
according to plan, except the fact that
Mm,
I thought that maybe when he turns 3, he'll be going to school. So I'll have a newborn at home
yeah.
while the other one goes to school so that there would not be much competition. That was my plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm,
I got pregnant
yeah.
and I had a bit of like anxiety because I feared COVID so much, like so much.
Mm,
So for that
mm,
pregnancy, most of the time I was home.
mm.
And when I'd leave home at any one point, I was like, I had like 2 masks on.
Yeah, but that was the second. That's 2021, right? That was the bad COVID, the one that
Yeah.
was really killing people.
I got
Yeah,
pregnant
it
end of
was scary for
2020.
many people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that COVID of 2021 was really scary. Like, there's a time, I think, starting March,
Mm,
when people were dying, even young people our age were
yeah.
dying, and if they were vaccinated and stuff. So, yeah,
Mm,
I think it's understandable the anxiety that you had. Yeah.
yeah. So I feared COVID so much that even from the, like, as soon as there was they announced the first case, it was like they told me that like that person was right in my compound because I was I was so scared. I was so scared. I always wore my mask even
Yeah.
when I went to visit my parents. Like I'd never take off my mask.
Mm,
My mother would beg me. She'd be
mm,
like, you know what? We are home. None of us has COVID. Can you just like take off your mask such that you can like breathe? And I'm like, mm-mm,
mm.
no, there is no way I'm contracting COVID. And
And
actually,
the people who fear COVID are the ones who actually get it.
and actually did get COVID. Like at some point,
That's good for you.
my entire family got COVID, but I did not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I got pregnant, and of course,
Mm,
besides the usual pregnancy uh, issues of like nausea and throwing up and whatnot, everything else
mm, mm,
was fine. So yeah,
mm,
the pregnancy progressed. I was going for antenatal at Nsambia Hospital. So
mm,
of course, during the COVID time, you'd not be able to like see the doctors as often. But I always made sure that
mm,
I was like having my routine checks, my
mm,
I was taking my prenatal vitamins and whatnot. Like everything was just
mm,
okay. And of
mm.
course, my mom would also do part of the checks because
Yeah,
yeah, for the
she
times when I
did.
couldn't
Does
make
she
it.
work in Zambia or?
No, not anymore. She did at some
Oh,
years back.
she
Yeah,
stopped. Okay.
yeah. So
Okay. Okay.
so I would have to go to her place and she'd like listen to the baby's heartbeat, check on me, make sure that
Mm,
everything is fine, take some notes such that
yeah,
when I had to go back to the doctors, everything was up
you
to
had
date. Like
something.
they would be able to read through
Yeah.
and you know and
Mm,
follow up.
mm,
Yeah. So
mm,
at some point, I was I think dehydrated because
Mm.
I barely, like, I could barely keep anything down. And at that point,
Mm.
I was I was at the beginning of the eighth month of pregnancy. So
Mm.
like, I would throw up all the time. Then I would, like,
Mm.
I was not drinking enough. I always, like, felt I was feeling a bit sick. I remember it was my son's birthday on 3rd June of
Mm.
2021. I
Mm.
invited my entire family to come home for dinner and cut cake, small, small things, since, the whole COVID
Mm.
situation. So
Yeah.
when they came home, Suzan took over the whole celebration thing. She was, like, carrying my son, helping him cut cake and whatnot. But I was feeling
Mm.
like a bit unwell.
Mm.
So when I stood up to try and, like, to try and help her out, I started to feel a bit lightheaded. So I went to the bedroom and
Mm.
laid down while everyone else was, like eating and drinking, and.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
Susan filled in for me at that point. She made sure that my son didn't realize that I was not feeling well. She cut cake with him, took pictures, sang, danced, played music and
Mm.
whatnot. But
Yeah.
as they were leaving, I told my mom, I said, I'm really feeling unwell. And she said, okay, maybe I can go home with you, such that I monitor you and make sure that everything is fine. So
Yeah.
I went home with them that night, and she had a nurse come in and put a drip because she realized that I was a bit dehydrated.
Dehydrated.
Yeah, so she put a
Mm. Mm.
drip,
Yeah.
but they ran all these other tests. We ran a COVID test, we ran malaria tests, CBCs and whatnot, and everything was just perfect. So
Yeah.
I even went for a scan, and the scan results were also good. Everything was okay. The
Mm.
fluid around the baby was perfect. Everything was good. So I was like,
Mm.
okay, this is probably something to do with pregnancy. So I'll not, it's
Mm.
nothing to worry about.
That was like the third trimester, right?
Yes, the beginning of the third, or not
Yeah.
the beginning, like mid third trimester, because I was
Mid third
a little
trimester.
over 30
8
weeks.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm. Yeah.
I stayed at my mom's for 2 weeks. But while I
Mm.
was there, I was still struggling with, like, appetite, like keeping meals down and what. They gave me
Mm.
tablets for the nausea and whatnot, but it was just not going away.
Helping.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I at I think at the beginning of the second week, it was
Mm.
on a Sunday, I
Mm.
started to feel contractions. So
Mm.
I told Susan, I said, you know what, I think I'm having contractions. My mom wasn't
Mm.
home, so we called her and she came home, and then she said, let her monitor me overnight. If they continued into the next day, then would take a step. So
Yeah.
they gave me a tablet, and I thought they would stop. I went to sleep, but even through the night there would be like a few contractions here and there. At that time I was 32 weeks pregnant.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
the next day, at that point, most people had said to go back to work. So the next day, my mom went to work, Susan went to work, but that nurse came in and still made sure they monitor me to make sure that the contractions weren't, you know, becoming too much or anything like that. So
Mm.
I went through that day, and that day there were
Mm.
not, like, really many. It was like one or two. So
Yeah.
we felt no need for the nurse to what to come in again. But that night, while I slept, I started to feel contractions again, and
Mm.
I told my mom, and I told her that if they continued, even if she had to be at work the next day, I would go to the hospital. So
Mm.
the next morning, when the contractions were, like, still, they were a little bit closer. So I decided to go
Mm.
to Doctor's Plaza It's
Mm.
just near home. So I went
Yeah.
there, and as I was talking to the doctor, he asked me, how many have you had in the past few minutes? So I told him that I would let him know each time, like I would feel a contraction. So at first he was writing down a prescription for like some medication that would stop the contractions, but
Contractions. Mm.
seeing how many I had had in that short while that I was in his office, he
Yeah.
decided to cancel the prescription. And while I was in his office, like every 2 minutes, no, it was even like I wasn't timing at that point, but like while I was in his office, I'd just be like, oh, that's another one, there's another one, there's another one. So he did a test. He checked, ran some tests, then checked me, and the cervix was still closed. So he told me that he recommended that I go to Zambia and be admitted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nsambia is where you had been doing your prenatal and where your doctor was,
yeah,
right?
my antenators, yes.
Mm.
So I was driving myself because everyone was at work. But it was a short
Wow.
distance.
Wasn't that hard?
It was, but
Just
like
give me a tip.
I have a high tolerance for pain. Like I'm
Ah,
not the kind to like
okay.
shout and like roll and undress and run mad when I have a lot of pain.
That's good.
Yeah, so
That's good.
I drove to Zambia, and I told them, I called my mom while I was heading there, and I told her that the doctor had
Mm.
recommended that I go to Zambia
Yeah.
and be admitted. And she said she would meet
Mm.
me there. So we went to Zambia. When we got there, they sent me straight to the labor ward, and the nurses that were there and the doctor said that they didn't see need for me to be admitted. So they gave me a paracetamol drip. It's a tiny small drip. So they put for me that paracetamol drip, and after it was done, they said they were sending me home. And I told them, like after the drip had been administered, I told them that the pain had not stopped, like the contractions were still there, but they
They
still
didn't
sent
do
me
any other
home.
checkups?
No, so they sent me home, and yeah, we could not, of course, argue with them. So we went home,
Yeah.
and the nurse she gave me 3 tablets of, I think it's called nifedipine. It's a blood pressure
Mm.
medicine, but she said that it could stop
Mm.
contractions. So she told me that if they continued in the night, I could take 1 tablet. So I went home,
What?
and still the contractions were there. At that point, I was using my pregnancy app to time them. And in that night, I think I had about 8. So I took the tablet that she gave me, but still they didn't stop.
Not-
But still,
Yeah.
all this while, I was not worried because at least the baby was still, she was really active. So she was kicking and like moving.
Mm.
So I
Mm.
was not very worried, but at least I knew that if the
Mm.
worst came to the worst, they would do something
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Very.
So
Yeah.
the next morning, still, I went back to Zambia, and I told them, I
Mm.
said, I think I'm having preterm labor because the contractions are not stopping. And I asked them if they
Mm.
could admit me, and still
Mm.
they say they do not see a need to. So then what the nurse that I saw, the doctor that I saw asked the nurse to put a fetal monitor on my stomach,
Mm. Yes. Mhm.
and
Yeah.
she put it, but she did not stay in the room with me. She put it and then like moved out to go and do something
What?
else. Yeah, so at that point I did not know that it was like a danger sign because I was by myself. But the baby's heart rate would go like extremely high, and then drop. So
No.
a bit
So
of
she didn't stay to monitor it.
no. So there was a bit of fluctuation, but when she came back into the room, she told me, because I think her machine was supposed to print out something, and she said
Mm.
she said no, I think the machine is malfunctioning. It has not printed anything, but I think you're fine because I had the heartbeat while I was
Oh,
in the next room, like at the nurse's station. So she
that's
said,
so careless.
yeah. So she said, but since you guys had asked to be admitted, we're going to admit you. And I was like, okay.
Mm.
So they gave us a room, and at that time my mom had come. So we get into
Mm.
our room at around, I think it was like 4 p.m.
Mm.
And from 4 p.m. until 3 a.m.,
Mm.
no one came in to check on us. There was no medication that was given to me. I was just, we were just in the room by ourselves. So my mom said that we should like just lock the room and sleep. So we slept, and then I think at around 4 or 5, a nurse knocked at the door, and then she came in with another drip of paracetamol. So she put the drip, and like after putting the drip, the next morning we were again sent home. So this is now
Wow.
Thursday morning. So no, yeah, the next morning, because she told me
Mm.
they wanted to send me home, and I asked them if I could like see another doctor that maybe would maybe like give me
Yeah.
a different
Another opinion.
solution or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So she,
Yeah.
yeah. So she told me while she was putting the drip, it was around 4 a.m. She told me that they would bring me a specialist in the morning. That would be Thursday morning.
Mm.
So
Mm.
after she put the drip, she didn't come back to like remove it. So once it was done, my mother like turned it off, and then we went to sleep. So in the morning, the specialist, as they had promised, came, and
Mm.
like he walked into the room and told me, we are going to discharge you, but we are going to give you like medication and what. So as he was talking, like he didn't come even close to the bed. He was standing by the door. So I asked him if maybe like what's the medication for and what not and what. And he told me, he said, no, we've been told that your mother is a medical, like in the medical field. So
Mm.
she can administer the medication from home. So he said that he was sending me home because they had a lot of COVID patients, and that I think they needed to create room for them. So he told me that they were sending all the pregnant women and people that had just delivered home. So I asked him, what are we going to do about the contractions? Because if it's not from like an infection or anything like that, then what is the medication for? So he left the room, and there was, I think, someone that was with him. I do not know the proper term for him, if he was a male nurse or an assistant. I don't know what he was. But I asked him, I said, I've not got any explanation as to why I could have contractions. And also, I feel like the baby's movements have reduced quite a bit. But he told me, said, no, the doctor said that we're sending you home, so we are sending you home.
Yeah.
So we left. We left the hospital and went home. But like there was something about that night that just wasn't like I felt like, quite uneasy, but I did not know why. I couldn't
Mm.
sleep. I was like tossing and turning the entire night. At some point my mom came into the room and told me, she said, what's wrong? Like maybe let me pray for you. So she gets her prayer book and like touches me, but I was like, no, no, don't touch me. Just go to your room and sleep. Like I was just so uneasy. I was like anxious. I just like something just didn't feel right. So
Mm.
I think at some point I slept off. And then the next morning I woke up and like there were no contractions. There were, I was not feeling any baby movements. My stomach just felt weird, like it just looked like it had just dropped and turned like some sort of weird color because it was just hard or something. Like I can't explain it, but there was just like a cold feeling about the whole thing. So I walked to a nearby scan place, and when I got there, this is someone that we know personally, so I went there. And like while I was there, he was seeing another patient at that time, and I was outside, but I was pacing. Like just something didn't feel right, but I just could not place it. But my mind just, like, my mind was like, it can't be anything bad, but just do the scan, because I had an entire week of contractions and no one had like asked for a scan. So
Yeah.
I kept moving around, and even the assistant at the scan place asked me if I was feeling like any pain or unwell, but I just told her no, I'm a bit unsettled, so I cannot just sit in one place. So she spoke to the doctor, and when the other patient came out, I went in, and like the doctor was explaining all these things of the baby's water levels seem to have gone down and what, and I'm like, all that you'll tell me after, but what I need to know is the baby
That's fine.
alive? Like, is there a
Yeah.
heartbeat? And then the guy is explaining, now you see there is this and there is that. And still I kept asking him, like, is there a heartbeat? Like, that's all I needed to know. And then he was saying, now you
Yeah.
see, the usual water levels are these, and now these ones. And I'm like, sir, I have had all that, but before you tell me all that, because whatever else comes after the baby being alive can be worked on. But is he
Yeah.
alive? So the guy told me, he's like, you know what? Just like step out and write a report. Like, I was like, okay. So I got out of the scan place, and I just started crying. Like, he had not told me anything, but like there was just a sinking
Yeah. You
feeling.
could
I
feel
started
it.
like crying, and then he came out with the,
Were you alone?
yeah, I was by myself. So he came out with the report, but like the usually when we go for the scans, like after he has done the scan, he'll hand you like your report. You even put it in the envelope yourself. So that's what we're used to. But this time he gave me the envelope, and he had stapled it like about 4 or 5 times. Like he had sealed the envelope and like stapled like so many times. So I did not. I also
Jesus.
didn't open it.
So
I
he's giving you the report to do what? To take it to your doctor or?
Yeah, but like seeing as is someone that knows us personally, I think I understand
Yeah.
where he was coming from. Like he
He
did
was
not know
afraid to
how.
even say
Yeah,
anything.
he did not know how to break
Yeah.
the news. So he asked me who I'd come with, and I told him that I had worked from home. And then he told me like to first have a seat. But as soon as he handed me the envelope, I didn't even bother opening it. I just folded it in half and put it in my pocket, and off I went. So I walked back home, but like I cried so much. I was wearing a mask. I cried so much that my like by the time I reached home, my mask was soaked in tears. And as soon as I opened the gate to my parents' home, I saw my dad and my mom getting into the car. And my mom just ran towards me and she hugged me, and I was like I
He called her.
yeah, he did. So she hugged me, and like this while as like the first thing that came to my mind, I felt so bad, but like the first thing that came to my mind was like I felt like I needed to just get the baby out and just like have her out of my body, because I just felt like I like as my mind was going through like a million things.
If you have made it this far, I am definitely sure that you must be having a lot of feelings, emotions, and feeling that frustration as you listen to Sheila's story. And for some of you, this might be triggering, but I truly hope that you are able to listen in next week to find out the journey of Sheila's healing and how it ends with her welcoming a baby girl this September. Please do share this message with other people out there. And as a reminder, subscribe, rate, review, and yeah, let's meet again next week to hear the rest of Sheila's story. Same time, same place. Please help me spread the word by sharing our episodes with your friends, family, and followers. Let's amplify the voices of women, break barriers, challenge stereotypes, and create a network of support and empowerment. Together, we can bring about positive change and make this world a better place for all. This is SheCentre, the female podcast, where women's stories matter. I love you all. God bless.